And it's a massive political issue this year, inflation. And no matter how many times Joe Biden tried to gaslight Americans into thinking the economy was fine, well, pretty clearly it's not.
Yeah, and they're now trying. Remember that month when inflation was 8% one month and 8% the next month, and Joe Biden tried to convince people that meant there was no inflation. Now we're at inflation 7% this month. It was 9% last month. I'm waiting for Biden to come out and say it's deflation, which it's not, obviously. 7% inflation, 8%, 9%. That's a big number. It's not the 16, 17, 18% of the late 1970s. But this is a big number. Governments fall over heightened inflation for long periods of time. It cost Jimmy Carter a job. It cost governments jobs all over the world. Inflation is a really big story, and it's not going away. Yes, gas prices has come down here a little bit, but the fundamentals are still there. There's still too much spending. There's difficulties in the supply chain. There's difficulties in regulation. Inflation is not going away. I think it's the big story of 2023, not only on its own, but on the recession that may be necessary in order to bring it under control.
Well, I think that recession bit you mentioned, that's coming out of the other double whammy of this, or the other half of the double whammy, which is interest rates, which just keep going up and are making things harder for everybody, with a mortgage or a car loan. But I want to get, before we go here, your big prediction on what's going to happen in U.S. politics in 2023. Mick, what's your crystal ball telling us?
Yeah, I've been struggling about this. Should I have fun with it? Should I shoot for the moon, or should I give you something that's real? So I'll give you one that's real and one that shoots for the moon. The one that I think is real is that there's going to be a very dramatic couple of days here in early January. By the time I talk to you next time, we'll be talking about the speaker, the election for the Speaker of the House, whether or not Kevin McCarthy has those votes. If you are sort of a geek when it comes to American politics, you follow this. This is red meat. This is the deep stuff. It's going to be fun that first week in January. But I think Kevin ultimately comes out the backside as the Speaker. That's my sort of reasonable pick. If I'm reaching for the moon, I'm telling you that Donald Trump pulls out of the race sometime this time next year, claiming a health crisis. Remember, you and I have talked about before, the only two reasons he wouldn't run is if he thinks he can lose and if he's got a health problem. What I didn't consider was a possibility that if he thought he could use, he might invent a health problem. So that's my shoot the moon for 2023, that Trump doesn't stand for re-election. He pulls out sometime next week. I give that a 1 in 100 chance, but in case I get it right, maybe I'll look pretty good going forward.
I don't know, Mick. I mean, how could he have a health problem? He's a superhero. Haven't you seen the NFT trading cards there? I mean, come on.